To thank all the people who supported me this year, I've created this new game. This is Basically World 3. It's the sequel to the sequel of the first game I made that had any kind of online popularity. It's about 90% finished right now, so that means I'm about halfway done with the programming for it. Right now it looks and feels like it could fall apart at any minute, even though it's technically perfectly playable at this point. What I'm missing here is the finish. It needs a good coat of internal and external polishing. So I'd like to show today how I go through a game and take it from being playable to, wow, here's a commemorative heart-shaped coin for your effort. For those unfamiliar with Basically World, this is basically how it goes. You start by placing your country on any tile on Earth. Every year is broken into spring, summer, autumn, and winter that bring different events, and your country will continue to grow in population and harvest crops based on the kind of terrain you've built on. By building up your army, you can expand to adjacent squares or sail over the water with boat points to reach new lands. You can plant and harvest resources to sell them for a profit and keep growing your empire. You'll come across other nations as well, basically this and basically that. Not based on history, it's all just for fun here. You can take over their territory, but it costs you more of your army to do so, and depleting your standing army leaves you vulnerable to attack. But if you manage yourself well, then you may be able to extend your domain across the four corners of the earth. So let's get into it. What turns a good game into a great game? As with any program I write, I always push myself beyond what I've done before. Basically World 3 is the culmination of all the fun of the first two titles, but now with a bigger map, a smarter AI, a better game loop, and more care in the details. The first thing I always do to show that I care is make sure that the UI looks good. I redesigned and recolored every element in the game to make it feel like it's not a website from 2005, but it's cohesive and modern. If you don't do anything else, at least make sure that all the default assets or elements have been changed in your game. Otherwise, you just look lazy and your game looks half finished. It's the little details that go a long way as well. Basically World 3 is the first in the series to feature snow during winter. And while initially I had snow in this basic checkered pattern, changing it to these two different versions of snowflakes made it less ambiguous as to what it was, while also giving context to the player that it will be harder to conquer Russia in the winter. It's these kinds of small details that bring more life and fun into the game. I'm also listening to player feedback I've received from the first two games. I've added an observation mode for after the player has died, so the player can see what will happen in their world long after they're gone. This was a highly requested feature and I understand why. One of the most distracting things in programming this game is watching the other countries grow and fight each other as well. Along with making the game run better, I've added more features of player customization. Beyond selecting their own name, players also now get to design a 24x16 flag for their state as well. And every other country in the game has their own flag too. This required a little bit of code to get right, but I have several different shape models, dozens of colors, and other symbols that all stitch together into a single flag. If you want to see a good example of my flag generation function, just hit the random flag button, or click on any country in the game to see their name and flag. Giving each country a flag also gave more identity to not just the player's nation, but to all the other nations in the game too. It became more important than the name of the country, it's the national symbol of that land. Good UI makes the game feel complete, and an intuitive UI makes the game feel comfortable to play from the beginning. Simple UI improvements like buttons changing colors when the mouse hovers over it, or disabling buttons and recoloring them when they can't be clicked again, go a long way to guiding the player so they know exactly what to do next. Take for example, managing the economy. The UI design for this during testing was ugly and didn't feel intuitive to use. By showing what can be clicked and when, it tells the player how much money they have and can spend without having to break out a calculator. It's the simple improvements like these that can turn spreadsheets into fun. Something that not every game, especially a small web game, does right is the title screen. A title screen can be the most beautiful thing in the world, but some developers stop at a text title and solid color background. Adding even a simple animation will bring that sense of life into a project from the moment that the player opens it up. Have a clear, well-spaced layout with the main option people would choose most being first in the list. Don't be afraid to credit yourself here either. You should be proud of any game or program you publish, and on the other hand, only publish what you're proud of. Put the proper effort into whatever you're creating. The world doesn't need another half-finished visual novel. And one last word on the title screen here. If your game is so simple that the only option is start, maybe you don't need a title screen at all and the player just needs to jump right into the action. The last point I'll make today is about music. I will confess that I don't really listen to music, but I do recognize that a game's music can set the overall tone and pace of play. Minecraft has this soft and subtle music and the overworld feels quiet and calm, but in The Legend of Zelda, the music feels like a great adventure is unfolding and every screen is filled with action, even though both games are just basically a bunch of trees. What does Basically World 3 feel like? Well, you've been listening to the background music the whole time, at least a sample of it. And if you'd like to hear the rest, then give the game a try. Basically World 3 is out now, and you can find the link to it down below. And again, I created this as a thank you to all the wonderful people who have listened to me ramble on about making computers do things all year. So once again, thank you, and I'm looking forward to next year.